Hi, my name is Rachel. I am the Thrifty Crocheter. I was a little tired of standing, so I'm going to be sitting. Today's a little excerpt from this book, Crochet Liberation Front. It's called Behold the Power of a Swatch, because we all know how important gauge swatching is when you're making a project, especially if you've never worked with a particular stitch or worked with that kind of project before. You need to make sure that your gauge is correct. Otherwise, it can come out way too big, way too small. You need to make sure you use the right size hook and the right kind of yarn. Otherwise, it comes out way bad. But anyway, this is called, and this is a little bit longer one, so I'll kind of, sorry, not sorry. Behold the Power of the Swatch by Tracy Barrett. And in parentheses it says, Tracy Crochets. I used to fear the swatch. I saw it was a waste of time, a waste of yarn, and a PIA. Granted, at the same time, I was making afghans and swatches really aren't important, right? Wrong. But I'll get to that in a minute. I learned the hard way that when I made a hat that would fit a baby doll, that swatching might be important. Lately, in the past year, I've been a strong proponent of a swatch. Not just for checking gauge, although that's the most important point of it. Anytime anyone in our crochet group would ask, will this yarn work for this project? The first word out of my mouth was swatch. I was lucky enough in 2007, that's how old this is, anyway, 2007, to take a class with Lily Chin. Now, I had to read her take on swatching in her book, and I agreed with it and was starting to go by it. So in her class, she gave all the reasons of swatching, and the main mantra was, do unto the swatch what you will do in the final item. I'm going to read that part again. Do unto the swatch what you will do unto the final item. That's a very big, important mantra. They got it in bold print. Okay. What does this mean? Let me post some of the questions I've seen in various forums and email lists, paraphrased, and show what swatching will do to answer the questions. Number 1. I washed this item and it fell apart. Colors ran, it felted, etc. What do I do? Here's the answer. Well, nothing now. Had you made a swatch, not just a 1 by 1 inch by 1 inch, I'm talking a 6 inch by 6 inch swatch, and washed it how you planned on washing the item, then you know that you can't wash it on a regular speed of hot water and dry it in the dryer. I'd rather waste a few yards of yarn and find out that I shouldn't toss that very detailed and time-consuming to make sweater in with the rest of the laundry. That sounds very important. No wonder it's number 1. Number 2. I have this yarn and want to use it for this project, but it's not the yarn called for. Will it work? Swatch it. That's how you determine if you're going up 3 hook sizes will make a difference. Sure, you can hit gauge that way, but it is now so open in the stitch pattern that your sweater is nearly see-through. Or did you have to go down 3 hook sizes and now it's like wearing cardboard? Does the stitch pattern even show up in that pattern? Is it something you'd want to wear? Swatch. Number 3. Will this yarn soften after I make a garment I want to wear next to my skin? Make a swatch, wash it if you can, and spend the day with it pinned next to your shirt, sock, pants, wherever you're going to wear it. Now that sounds interesting. You'll know really quick if you can stand it or not. That makes sense. Better to have a reaction, reach in and pull the swatch out, than be stuck out at a nice dinner and spend the whole evening wanting to rip the sweater off. While you make a whole new set of friends, you might not be able to eat there anymore. Oh my. 4. Will this synthetic yarn block if I make a lacy design in it? I don't know. Swatch it and see. Spend the 15 minutes making a mini version and find out that no, it won't block, then spend 30 hours and find that out. Try wet blocking first, and if that doesn't work, then try steam blocking. You may be surprised at just how many yarns will block. You'll also find in that swatching if the yarn wants you to go up or down a hook size. Those are some helpful hints right there. 5. Do you think this stitch pattern will work with this yarn? Swatch it and see. Some stitch patterns are what Lily called, quote, trophy wives, unquote. Pretty to look at, but be to live with. Find out in a 6x6 swatch that you hate that stitch pattern, that 2 weeks later and a half way through the project with the deadline looming. Goodness. Number 6. Do these colors work, / will they run, / etc., etc., etc. Can you all answer this now? Swatch it, wash it, and see. I'd rather see it on a swatch that the pretty red and white stripes become a pink mess than finish the sweater, blanket, purse, and find that out. Yeah, I can see that. You wouldn't, if you don't want the colors to run and you want all the colors to shine. Yeah, I would do a swatch and wash it and see what it looks like. Yeah. Number 7. Will this afghan I'm making out of acrylic soften up? Actually, yes. I've softened up acrylic by washing on gentle cycle in cold water with a smidge of detergent and a full load's worth of softener. Also, you can steam block acrylic and it will totally change. Seriously, try it. Take the ickiest yarn you've got. Make 2 swatches. Take 1 swatch and steam the daylights out of it under your iron. Don't touch the iron to it, just hover. You will be amazed. I was. Don't hate the acrylic. It all has its place. Number 8. Do I have enough yarn to make this? Now, when it comes to that, before I read this, projects, and whether, you see projects in a book, it'll always tell you how many yards you need. So, for me, it's always been, I usually try to go by that, and maybe buy 1 extra skein of yarn than what I need, just to make sure you're covered. But let's read this to find out. Do I have enough yarn to make this? Swatch. Seriously. Do a good size swatch. You could pull it back out if you have to, if you need the yarn. And measure it. Measure the area of the item you're making. If it's a garment, then measure each piece and figure the area and then add it up. Weigh your swatch. Now you have to do math. Let's use an example to make this make sense. Your swatch is 1/10 the area of your final piece. The swatch weighs 3 grams. you will need about 30 grams to make your final piece. Make sense? If not, well, I'm not sure how much I can help you. It's math, and I'm still struggling with it. Number 9. How much will this piece felt? Now, see, that's another thing. You have to be careful because some yarns do felt. Especially if you don't wash them correctly, they will felt. And you may not want it to felt. Now, if you want it to felt, that's a whole other story. But in most cases, you don't want your pieces to felt. That's my opinion anyway. Anyway, back to this. How much will this piece felt? For the love that's all yarny, swatch it and see. If it's something that requires a specific amount of felting, you better be doing swatches and felting them. Actually, I do have one of my books. There is a purse that when you get done crocheting it, you do want, it is a felted purse, but you have to crochet it and then felt it. But anyway, back to this. This is also where you could see if different colors felt at different rates or if the colors run. Better here than later when it's done. Good point. That was number 9. Number 10. It's the last question. If I use this hook and this yarn, can I size this project up or down? Seems like we already covered this, but okay. Swatch it. Again, this is how you can tell if it'll be too open or too tight, if it will even work, and how difficult it's going to be. Again, how it's going to be. And she finalizes with, now I'll just as swamped on things as the next crocheter, but I'd rather spend 20 minutes making a swatch to find out that my idea won't work than to spend 3 weeks or more on a project and have it come out like crap. So please help yourself and do a swatch. You'll be amazed at how many questions you can answer yourself without having to frustrate others. And then she has pictures of 2 example swatches. One on the left is a basket weave swatch in hand spun singles with commercial sock yarn. This swatch photo courtesy of Lori Wheeler. And on the right is a broomstick lace swatch by Tracy Barrett. This swatch became the broomstick lace wrap. So here's the 2 swatches she has pictured. There's the basket weave. And here's the broomstick lace. So, behold the power of the swatch. Bye.